Hi again, it's Renee. God did not give us the spirit of fear. And I could be contradicting myself, because I said that my abusive husband put me in such a state that I was shaky, nervous, scared, terrified, you name it. But God means what He says in His Word. He did not give us the spirit of fear, but we let things that happen in the world, especially to us, we let it affect us because of the human mind and body. But when we're strong enough to understand what's really going on, we can actually ask God for His protection. And for some reason, there really is no fear if we trust and believe in Him. I say this to mention COVID-19. When COVID-19 was first addressed and mentioned, I was like, okay, there's nothing to worry about. It's in another country. But when it came in this country, it seemed kind of odd because that was around election time, and I'm sure a lot of you remember what happened during those times when they were saying voter fraud and a whole lot of other stuff. But anyway, I did a little research, but first I talked to God. I asked God, was there anything that I needed to be afraid of? And He put two scriptures in my mind. Be still and know that I am God. And the other one, He knows the plans that He has for our lives, which is Jeremiah 29 and 11. And be still and know that I am God. That's the main one that stuck. And I'm like, I don't know what all of this has to do with COVID-19, the scriptures, but I lived by them and I believe them. And God revealed so much during those times of COVID-19, crooked ministers, politicians, people still going around with no masks, going places, bonding together when they said it was supposed to be no more than, I think, a group of 10 people. And then at first they were saying that COVID affected everybody because, it has no discrimination. It doesn't pick and choose who gets COVID-19. And then later on, they started saying people of color was the one that was carrying it the most. I don't know how that happened because it came from another country. So evidently, I don't think it was us. But one thing I know, I never took the shot. Not the first one, not the second one, not the third one, none of them. But I also realized at the time that we had to wear a mask. I hated wearing masks because I wanted to breathe God's beautiful air that puts life in our body. And now I have to wear this constricted material over my face. Now, I'm not putting people down that not only believed COVID-19 and did what they had to protect themselves, but being terrified of something that the state legislatures came up with, I just felt was wrong because it put people in a panic mode. It put them in a fearful mode. Some people I knew stayed in their houses until they died. Then you got people that couldn't go to funerals for their family members. They couldn't go to the hospitals for their family members. And a lot of people died and wasn't able to do any of that because of the fear of COVID-19. Now, mind you, it was the state legislatures that put forth the rules about COVID-19 and how we are supposed to respond. I remember a state representative and a congresswoman, excuse me, that were taking pictures with other people and they had no mask on. But the people that was taking a picture with them had masks on. So I never understood that. So everything seemed off. And then come to find out that before the COVID shot even came out, a lot of these legislatures were investing into this, I guess we can say, cure for COVID-19. Before the cure came out and it was not legally represented to be used on humans. It's not to say specimens, but we're not specimens. And it's kind of odd that they made money off of people's fear. And they say, where did you get your sources from? Well, a lot of times there were people posting during COVID and they were saying it was not real. And then a lot of people were saying, yes, it was. They was coughing, gagging, doing all of this. At first they said COVID-19 had no symptoms. Then they started saying it was similar to the flu and it was similar to pneumonia. You know, all those symptoms were similar. So a lot of people, as soon as they had one sniffle, one fever, they rushed to the hospitals thinking that they had COVID. And they probably labeled them and said they had COVID because I found out a lot of hospitals, clinics, all of them got a lot of money to come in so that they can, you know, provide people with this antidote against COVID-19. The thing about that is when these people did that, the more people that went to the hospital or either died, could have been of natural causes, but they were probably labeled as COVID to keep the money coming in. You know, money means a lot more to some people, not all people, to some people more than it does human beings. You know, they're not worried about our fear and our concern and our whatever. It's all about the dollar, as they call it. And the Bible says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And I felt like a lot of that was evil. I'm not saying COVID-19 didn't exist, but I don't think it was to the level that was broadcasted to place fear in people, harming people, and to separate people from their family members. And like I said, I never took the shot, but a few people that I knew said because I didn't take the shot, they didn't want me around them. Well, whatever you want, because to each his own. Don't mess with my faith. I believe God when he said it wasn't that serious, and I would rather believe him than man, because he said trust no man, trust him. So I'm going to keep my trust and faith in him. Some people were required or either demanded to have that shot because they were working. And when we look at the hospitals now, it's almost like they replaced the good people, the ones that was actually working, the ones that was actually caring about us during COVID, all in the midst of all of that. And all in the midst of all of that, later on, they actually fired them. They fired them and hired other people. That's why we got neglect in the hospitals. That's why people are dying in the hospital. That's why a lot of things are going wrong now. We don't have some of the best doctors that we had before COVID in the hospitals now. It's like, long as you got that title, you can come and work for us, as you can make wrong decisions. Again, like my sister, you can make wrong decisions. So people don't care like they used to. They don't respect people being in the hospital like they used to. COVID-19 did a lot. I remember going into the store, and dust is sometimes in the store, right? And I was walking down this aisle, and then I could feel that I was about to sneeze, but I held it in and didn't know when I turned this corner and I sneezed, there was somebody already standing on the other side with their mask on and all that. And then when I sneezed, they turned around and stared at me like they hated me. Not realizing this could have been, which I do, I have seasonal allergies. And my daughter bought me a shirt that says, relax, it's only allergies. So I wore that shirt for a long time because a lot of things that happened to us probably had nothing to do with COVID. It was probably the norm of the flu, because we're in flu season. It was probably pneumonia. Some people get pneumonias, have the same symptoms, but they were labeled COVID-19, COVID-19. I wound up at this tax assessor's office one day, and we were standing in line because of COVID-19. So many people could go in the building. And these were young people that I was listening to their conversation, saying what happened and why they hated COVID. And one of them, a young man, told me that his uncle died from a motorcycle accident, but they said it was COVID-19, and he was upset about that. And then another young lady that he was talking to said the same thing, that a family member of hers died from something else, but they labeled it as COVID-19. Hundreds of thousands, they saying, died from COVID-19. Could be true. But me, I'm leery about that, because a lot of people could have died from natural causes, but they're saying that it was COVID. We sometimes get fevers when we have an infection. We sometimes get headaches, stuffy noses or chest pains, all in the natural realm that had nothing to do with COVID-19. But because they get more money in that way, COVID-19 was broadened. And then a lot of people, they got that shot and still got COVID. But they said it's like the flu shot. You know, when you get the flu shot, you get the flu. That's why I bought it. I don't want the flu. I figured if I get it naturally, I get it naturally. I ain't finna take a shot that's going to give it to me because I don't want to be sick. So why would I take a shot that's going to give me COVID to fight it off? And then now my bloodstream and everything about me says I have COVID-19. I am not putting anybody down that did what they had to do because of what they believed. I'm speaking about me. Everybody has to do what they need to do to keep themselves safe. I'm talking about me. My faith will not be tested in that manner because I know what fear really feels like. And that was a Winchester rifle to my forehead from my husband. And when I hit the gun, he punched me in the eye, and it was so bloody that I thought I was going to lose it. But thank God I didn't. The doctor said one more inch towards the iris, I would have been permanently blind in that eye. That scared me. COVID-19 didn't. I respected the laws of the land because I noticed a lot of ministers kept bringing that up from the Bible, you know, to obey the laws of the land, obey the laws of the land. I understand that. But these laws of the land are coming from state legislatures. If y'all been lying for years, why would I trust what you say now? Y'all, you get in office, y'all make these rules and these plans and dictate and decide how we're going to live, what we need to do, how we need to do it. When I went to the store and I saw all of those shelves all empty, God didn't put me out there in the middle when COVID first started. When it started, I had already went to a major brand store, bought tissue, toilet tissue, paper towels, hand sanitizers I still had from Hurricane Harvey that was issued at the time, and it was still in the house. I just never opened it up. So me and my family were not in the middle of that chaos. God didn't let us get in the middle of that chaos when they was grabbing stuff off the shelves and they ain't got this and that. The only people that made money during those time frames, when you think about it, is the people that provided the COVID shots. The toilet tissue people made a lot of money. Water companies made a lot of money. Hand sanitizer people made a lot of money. Disinfectant people like bleach, Clorox, all of that made a lot of money off of our fear. And that's the reason why I was upset, because they're getting rich while we're afraid and don't know what to do or where to go to do it and being terrified. If you notice, sometimes even during the like hurricanes or storms, flooding, tornadoes, that's when these organizations come out and start begging for help. Nothing wrong with that. People need to be helped, and these organizations need to do what they say that they're going to do. But you're actually taking advantage of people's suffering. And you're broadly advertising it. We need money because look at these people. They suffering right here. They suffering right there. But do you really help them when you get the money? Are you there to everybody that comes to you for help? After all, you use them to say why you needed the money and to bring it in. I already said that during COVID-19, God revealed a whole lot of stuff that was corrupted and was wrong. A judge going into a beauty supply, it was a beauty salon, I'm sorry, and got caught on video, and she was getting her hair done and had no mask on. So I guess she set up a private appointment because she's a judge. She needs to look good during COVID-19 while people are suffering and people are afraid. Use the discernment that God has given us to know when people are right. I done made a lot of mistakes, so I'm not saying I have so much discernment that I can spot things and stop it immediately. Only God can do that. But He gives us enough discernment to sense when something is wrong. And we can either back away from it or keep on going. And sometimes it's hard to decipher from the other because you're not sure if you're making the right decision. But if it's going to cause you harm, pain, and suffering, you already know what that decision should be. Again, I'm going to say, state legislatures are the ones that create these laws and these terrible whatever incidences to place fear in people. When the West Nile came out, everybody started buying the spray to protect ourselves from mosquito. The swan flu been out for quite a while. These things have been happening for a long time, and sometimes we'll reach in the past to bring something in the front, because if it scared them then, it's going to scare us now. But what is your purpose and your reason for doing what you do and how you do to decide our lives and these laws that we can't do anything about it? We need to start addressing our state legislatures for a lot of things.